Thank you so much for coming to my presentation, and I'll try to track you. Yes, my name is Mingla Charoenmuang, my full name. I am the New York State 4-H Health, Wellness, and Food Systems Specialist at Cornell University. And today I'll be presenting about the curriculum Food Systems Thinker, which I developed when I was a PhD student at Purdue University. And my co-author is Dr. Knobloch, was my advisor at the time. So thank you, the North Central Region's SARE Graduate Student Grant, for partially funding this project. And this really helped address the limited resources that we have out there regarding systems thinking and the sustainable agriculture context in that sense. For supporting me to be here with all of you in this conference. I want to acknowledge my advisory panel, Neil, Tamara, Karen, Hannah, Dan, and Wei from Purdue University, Purdue Extension, and Virginia Tech for helping shaping this Food System Thinker curriculum. So for a quick introduction, let's just slow down a little bit. So this curriculum did address two major problems in our education system. One is that we don't have a lot of instructional design that intentionally helps students develop the higher order thinking abilities. Researchers would say there's a lot of memorization, fact recall, regurgitation, just hitting that, not really helping them develop those skills, which is really not equipping students to be adequately able to address the complex problems, the society problems at all. And the second point is that the major problem that happen is there's a lot of disconnection between students and the knowledge about food and food systems. Not a lot of awareness of how that could play into different aspects of their lives, to the national security, to the global security. And these try to help with that. So systems thinking, our work is really governed by a lot of complex systems. So it's not really enough to not using the idea of look at things that they are complex in it. But for a human, it might not necessarily be something that comes up naturally. It doesn't something that a systems thinking system is not something in it. So compared to like a lot of evolution, we say there's a problem, it's so complex. Let's break it down. Let's simplify that, right? Divide it into parts, but we don't put it back together. We don't see the whole picture of how that connected. And the problem is that that could really create another unintended consequences because of not connecting it back. Researchers did say that if we were more skillful in systems thinking, we could have prevented a lot of disasters, including World War II. And now that we have a lot of disasters, the environmental degradation or the food waste issues coexisting with hunger and obesity, we really need the skills to help address that. So for a definition of systems thinking, there are different terms I could use. Systematic thinking is more like step-by-step. Thank you. So but systems thinking is looking at the system as a whole and how parts interact with each other. And that's really important to see those connections. And a picture over here that you see is usually used to represent the importance of systems thinking. There are blind people trying to figure out what this animal is. So they touch different parts of the animal and they thought of various different things because they don't connect back together to figure out it's an elephant. So they thought it was like separate things together. So this is just something I want to share as one of the frameworks that I used from UVM is talking about different aspects of food system. And it's very helpful because it's so complex, there's so many things that involve. So this really helped ground and frame to point out these different things that we can introduce to students that it affects and influences different varieties. So you can keep that for future reference. So for the learning outcomes, we really want learners to learn more about the food system, sustainability, systems thinking, understand why we have to support sustainable agriculture, and then talk about the consequences, whether it was intended or unintended, of their food choices that could have on the environment, economy, and their community. So for the curriculum, Food Systems Thinker curriculum, try to encourage the learners to practice different systems thinking skills, and that by identifying various relationships of these components within the food system or with other systems, help them consider different perspectives and variables that could change in the system, help them think about the concepts, like systems concepts such as stock and flow, inputs, outputs, delay, and help them recognize there could be different feedbacks and time horizon that influence the system. So for this is the website that is on, I use wix.com, which is a free platform. So it's free access to anybody who go to the website, and they can scroll through that. It will be updated eventually. So for now, it has 4 modules. The first module, think about like a bigger picture, different things in the food system. Like what are different relationships within the food system? Second lesson is talk more about the levels, which is a boundary when we talk about system analysis. Levels like from individual up to global level. And then we talk about interactions with food system with other systems like health and ecosystem, political system, economic, cultural, climate systems, such that. So second module, focus more like on another like a theme, like key players. They're different people working in this really big system. Like what are their roles? What are their perspectives? Talk about different forces that come into the food system. Talk about the concept of systems like inputs, outputs, stock and flow. And then the third module, we focus more on the case studies, and there are 2 different stories. One is talking about food waste. Another one is talk about climate change and biodiversity. And the last one is talking about how to take action. One is from an individual perspective. How could a person as a consumer or the citizen of society be supportive of a sustainable food system? Another one is to work together with the community members to really address the food insecurity. So these are some people that I'm really incredibly lucky to have them let me record their speech, do lectures. Are you raising your hand?
Question, yeah. Who is the audience for your person?
High school or higher level, but the one that we actually use it with is the high school students.
It's like a general education class for.
Or yeah, some of the acts.
Okay.
Yeah.
So ag high school, okay.
And high school so far that use that reported back. Other ones they can freely use. Okay. They can have help. So these 5 people really food professionals, food system professionals in Indiana. Mary Luss talked. It's an urban farmer. She was discussing about the resiliency if our food system were to be interrupted. And then Gary Cox is a diversified organic farmer who was talking about different influences on his operation of the farm. Dr. Ken Foster is agriculture economics professor and also beekeeper and many other hats that he wears. He was talking about different roles that he has in the system and provides perspective. And then John Turk from he is an organic grain farmer and also a seed saver and among other things. He successfully grow rice and many other stuff on that area. You know him. So he was talking about biodiversity and the climate change and things that affect his farm. And Sharona Moore is a community garden founder and manager, and she was discussing about her work that helped address food apartheid. So those are, I'm really lucky to have them on videos, and you can watch what they talked about. But in general, on that website, it's a lesson, it's a self-guided lesson using more of a lot of listening lecture, and then think about what's happening by using those examples that I talked about, using some of the concepts of the system to practice the skills. And then there's some experiential learning that happened after the class that I actually implement is funded by SARE. That's really lucky too. Like thankful for SARE. And also there are scaffolding worksheets that help guide students to go through these lessons and the reflection questions to internalize what they learn and reflect on what they know. And those are all available on the website, and some pictures here to show you that I used story from reading, from audio files, from videos, from slideshows, from lots of diagrams, things like that to show the students how, to go through that. And these are some pictures of the diagrams that talk about the same concepts. So you can find out in the lessons. So the experiential learning parts that I was talking about is they get to interact with some of the speakers that I recorded, so they can ask further questions. And then they also get to visit a food pantry to volunteer and learn about what is happening in their community. And then they visit Gary Cox Diversified Organic Farm and get to do different hands-on experience. They also visit a student farm to a professor was talking about food system and the systems thinking idea to them. So they get to do all that. So the outcome for that is after the project, there was a network forming between the students, the teacher, and different professors. The farmers were recognized, the professionals were recognized for their work and had the opportunity to share their stories as an educator, and then the resources have been available. Then also the learners gain insights about different sustainable practices and connected to farmers at local level and help strengthen their community. And also they were supported to think about like lifelong learning, to think about in the future, if they go through, everybody has to eat still, have food choices still, how are they going to connect what they learned? So from that, the implication is, I think this, to simplify when we talk about food system, it's really going to be a great idea to talk about a whole picture, a bigger picture. And these are some 6 main activities in modern food system: production, processing, distribution, or any transportation involved at all. Go to retail, go to consumer, which is consumption, and then disposal. Disposal usually got left behind, don't talk about it. If we don't talk about, who's going to talk about, because that's really, really important. So this giving a perspective or bigger picture of what the food system mean when I say that. And then I use this idea to really help frame the work in my 4-H world right now, which I focus on agriculture and food systems. And last year we got a MIFA USD grant for 4-H at home project and develop e-learning interactive modules using that 6 main activities as a presence one, and get used to explore. This one is for grade 7 to 10. So it's a little younger and it's really intensive in hands-on experience, hands-on activities and reflection questions. And then interactively, they can play on the website, which the link is below. And also there's a PDF version of that for people who are not using the computer or the internet access. And you can email me at Cornell email to get a copy of Food System Exploration. And with that, I am sharing with you the link for the Food Systems Thinker curriculum that I talked about. Also, we have social media that I will keep updated, different things, and invite you all to come and exchange ideas for the community. And then also my other email that you can feel free to connect with me if you need support or need additional questions or suggestions for me. And that is the end of my presentation. Sarah also gave me the resources to distribute for free right here, and here are some of my cards that you can have. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to take that. Thank you. Thank you.
So Mingla, thank you for the presentation. It's interesting to see what you're up to. I'm curious, so at the initial sort of implementation, it was going out to a network of high schools. Is that right?
It's part of my dissertation project, yes.
I'm just wondering where is this food systems thinker in its implementation phase? Like, how is it working out? for people who are actually using it? Do you have any data on feedback on how?
I don't really connect, like after this launch, I don't really connect back to what they think about it. I did ask them to tell me, but not everybody, do that. I don't have an official survey, but I do know that I have some lessons learned from it that I kind of translate that into the other work, this one, to make it a little more engaging and, the focus. But this doesn't emphasize systems thinking as much as the other one. So I think the other one will have to keep improving to make it as easier for the user as this one.
But I agree, you could do a simple survey on there, even a Google Doc survey if you wanted to get some feedback. And I taught ag extension, I teach community ag at college level, and something like this, I did not know about this, but for ag extension, where we looked at different lesson plans and we taught, on that aspect, this would be amazing to see how, at the college level or graduate level, how you would teach at the high school level or before age. So I will incorporate this. This would be perfect. So I can see that aspect as well. So, any other quick questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And grab these.